It's your boy Sid, and welcome to the Dallas Cowboys for Life channel. I want to thank everyone who's taking the time to tune in to this live stream. Welcome to the Speak Your Mind All the Time talk show. And guys, I got a special guest with me tonight. Please go ahead and introduce yourself. Let the people know who you are.
Man, Sid, I sure appreciate you letting me get some time in with you. My name is Mark Henry. I am a media person here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas. I have a podcast, TXTP Show, Top Texas Prospect Show, where we cover recruiting in the high school level. I also have a NFL show, which Sid was privileged to join us on last week, the Timeout NFL show. My Twitter is on the Marc Sports, at MarkHen44. Man, Sid, I just appreciate you letting me get in and on this today, man. And let's go. I'm ready to get after. Let's go.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you joining the show, and thank you for having me on your show, the NFL Timeout podcast.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
I want to shout out to Miguel and Matt also.
Yes, sir.
I look forward to
Yes,
doing
sir.
something with them. I'm going to have Matt on the show in a couple of days, and I'm hoping to get Miguel on. And we got big things coming together, all four of us.
Yes, sir. Big things popping all the time.
Yeah, man, 100%. So we're going to get right into it. There's a lot that's come out on the NFL today. I want to talk about a huge topic right now that I saw come out, that the salary cap will be affected due to the pandemic. What do you think about this? Do you think that it's something that's fair that they're going to be doing to the players? And I just want to get your feedback on it, man.
Well, I mean, you got to look at everything else in the world. I mean, gas prices have been affected. Grocery prices have been affected. I mean, if you go in the store here in America, I don't know how things are in Canada. You could shed a little light on that. But, I mean, you could go in to buy just simple hamburger meat and, a pack of hamburger meat that was $6 to $7 is now running up to $13. So it's an adjustment of the time. So right now, the base salary cap that they have set for 2020 is $198,200,000. So, I mean, you can expect that. That may change the contracts of guys that are looking to sign. It may change the way things are done all the way around. I mean, there's going to be some big changes, not just with the salary cap, but there are going to be changes as far as how we attend the games. It's a whole big deal. But, simply to answer your question about the salary cap, I mean, the owners are going to have to be tight-lipped on things. Their things are going to change. Hopefully it doesn't affect the people that work at the stadium's jobs, the food handlers, the security guys, because that whole entire thing, it's an organization as well from top to bottom. So you look for changes, and hopefully guys, continue to come in and do what they're supposed to do as well.
Yeah, man, I totally agree with you. But I got to look at it on the flip side of things. Do you think that the players should be affected by this? Because let's be honest, the NFL is $1 billion business a year. We're talking across the board, from stadium sales to jersey sales to TV broadcast. The NFL gets big money. Do you think that they should be looking at this and saying, hey, wait a minute, we're going to lose money this year, so let's take money away from the players?
Well, they're going to lose money as well. Let's think about how much they're going to lose at training camp. The Cowboys, for example, are going to be in Frisco instead of being out in California. Look at what those fans are losing by not being able to see the Cowboys. People plan their family vacations around that, when they go to California and spend those few weeks down there practicing. So it's going to be a household change. It's going to affect the players tremendously as well. But I would say this to the players. I hope that there's saving their chips. I hope they're stacking their dough. I hope that they are, not just, being willy-nilly with their whole, all of the expenses. Some things that they're going to have to cut back on. It's just the times that we're living in, period. It's affecting football. It's affecting sports as a whole. I mean, look how long we've been without sports in general. I've been growing up a long time. We should have been in the NBA Finals. We missed March Madness. Now we're missing OTAs and stuff that we should be seeing the guys working out, the rookie camps. So it's going to be tough for everybody.
Yeah, man, 100%. And I don't want to go into it too much, but I hope that you're staying safe over there, and I hope that I mean, here in Montreal, Canada, we're not dealing with half as much as what you guys are dealing with. And I hope that you're doing everything you can to stay safe. And I know you work in the medical environment, so please
Yeah.
do me a favor and make sure you're staying safe. And everybody
Yeah.
out there, please stay safe, man.
Yes, sir, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm what you would call an essential worker. I've been working the whole time that this whole pandemic's been going on. I take precautions. This is the way. I was trained and been doing these kind of precautions already. This didn't just start overnight for me. Hand washing and things. That was essential for me before then. I have an extensive medical background, so I think it's just a sign of times and. The world as a whole was just very dirty before this. Hand washing is essential to clean living. So, as far as everything that's going on in America right now, we're at a trying time, and hopefully sports can come back and be a distraction for us.
Yeah, man. I totally agree with you because if there is not going to be an NFL season or if the NFL season gets late for any reason, there's going to be some depressed husbands out there and guys and the wives are going to be going insane because guys are not going to know what to do with ourselves. And we're going to be
you got to think we playing our game. We playing our lives around this, as far as grilling, tailgating, cracking a few Budweisers, getting the kids together, throwing the football around on Sundays, Saturdays, and even, Friday nights. So, football is a big, it's a weekend thing for me during the season.
Yeah, man, 100%. Listen, I just want to tune in to a few people asking a few questions here.
Yes, sir.
So I want to send a shout out to Nate thank you for tuning in. Kadisha, you know who you are. That's a special person in my life, and that's actually my wife. So she always tunes
What's going
in.
on? How you doing, man?
Yeah, man. Cowboy X Factor, thank you for tuning in. And Jason, my man, great guy. I met him recently. And I'm looking forward to meeting him face to face and getting together. So let's just touch a few questions that we have here. So Kadisha asked an amazing question, and I think this is a question that Cowboy haters out there are obviously looking at it on the flip side and saying Dak's not going to get signed. He's asking for too much money, blah, 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 blah. Us Dallas Cowboys fans, we're staying optimistic and we're definitely saying that Dak will get signed. So Kadisha asked, do you think that Dak will get signed this year? Now, before I touch on that topic, I don't know if you noticed today, but Dak donated $1 million today.
Yep.
What do you think about that? Do you think that was a good move?
I think that speaks volumes that the person Dak is. I mean, Dak recently just lost his brother, so he's going through a thing like that. Personally, if you know anything about Dak, his background, his mother died from cancer. Yep. So he's always been a big supporter of cancer treatment, cancer drives and stuff. Always been very active, and Dak is very active in the community here in Dallas. So that wasn't a surprise. But Sid, I don't know if you saw this. The big thing in the NFL and around here in America today is what Drew Brees and his comments about the flag. So, we got two ends of the totem pole here. Dak lifting up the struggle, and, Drew Brees is catching flack even from his own teammates since he posted or, he made that statement about he doesn't respect anybody that disrespects the flag. And he was referring to the Colin Kaepernick situation and the other NFL players that followed suit in kneeling at the anthem. And, again, it's not about the flag. It's about social injustice. The police brutality is just on display here in America. So Dak is right on time with that. I think it speaks volumes about his character. And, why wouldn't you want to sign somebody and have them be the franchise face of your franchise like that when they do things like that? That's important. And he has to show solidarity. He's the leader of that team.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. And I think that's why I keep telling people that the Dallas Cowboys have to do the right thing and sign Dak because of the fact that he is the face of the Dallas Cowboys. He is a team player. He's a leader. And look what he did today. He donated $1 million for rookie police training. That alone says a lot about the guy and how he feels about what's going on in society today. And I want to, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, but I have to tell you, by him making that move, I have huge respect and even more respect for him going forward.
I agree. I mean, Dak's been, he's been clean as a whistle. Except, I think the only time that Dak caught some flack was he was at Mississippi State down in spring break. He got in a little altercation with a guy, that was pretty publicized. But that was the only thing. If you're looking for, something off the field, that was a distraction. He hasn't been. He's been a leader. And then if you look back, Sid, last year, going into the season, after we knew that Dak wasn't going to get the extension, then he kind of kept it quiet. Dak has played his role.
Mm-hmm.
Dak has done everything you've asked him to do.
Yep.
Now it's time to reward him handsomely. I mean, I'm not the biggest Dallas Cowboys fan, but I'm a Dak Prescott fan. I liked him when he was at Mississippi State, and I think Dak gives the Cowboys the best chance to win. You don't sign or draft CeeDee Lamb if you don't have Dak in your future plans.
Yeah, 100%. I have to agree with you. And we'll definitely touch on CeeDee Lamb a little bit later on in the show. So you brought up an interesting topic that you're not a Dallas Cowboys fan, but I believe that we've had a conversation about this. And
yes, sir.
I believe that you were a Dallas Cowboys fan at one point, and
right.
And I want to know, let our listeners know why you made the switch and who you're rooting for now.
Well, I'm originally from Houston, Texas, so anything that come out of H-Town, I'm rooting for, whether it's the Astros, the Dynamo, the Rockets. I grew up in the Love You Blue days of the Earl Campbells and the Bum Phillips and the Astrodome. I got a chance to play in the Astrodome as a high school player. And when you grow up in Houston, that's a dream at that time. Now everybody wants to play in NRG or in Cowboys Stadium. But I was more of a Cowboys fan when I was growing up because of Tony Dorsett. I had his book. I had the posters. He was my favorite running back at the time, along with Earl Campbell. And I also liked the 90s Cowboys with Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, Deion Sanders for a little while. I like the Cowboys, and I root anything from Texas except the San Antonio Spurs. I just don't dig the Spurs because they always got with the Rockets at the wrong time. But we did get 2 championships out of them, so we did back-to-back. But long story short, I pulled for the Cowboys. I watched the Cowboys. Of course, sometimes we kind of handcuffed here in Dallas. If the Cowboys are on, we don't get any other games unless you have the NFL ticket or something. You know what I'm saying? Yep. But I respect the Cowboys players, and I have guys like Dak and Zeke that I like. Of course, the new guy CeeDee Lamb. I was a big Dez supporter, still like Dez because he's a homegrown talent. He's from Lufkin, Texas, which is in far East Texas, and the Cowboys tend to have a pretty good team. It's just said honestly, the Cowboys' Achilles heel has been the secondary, and that's a whole nother topic for the show. That's always been weak. The secondary has been killing us, or been killing the Cowboys.
Yep.
Because if you look at the games last year, even though they finished 8-8, they gave up big plays right at the end. So at the end, you can blame that on Jason Garrett, and he took the fall for it. They need a new voice, and they got Mike McCarthy now. So, the Cowboys, I think, are trending in the right direction, but they need to go ahead and stamp Dak's checkbook and let that go.
Yeah, man, 100%. So listen, I had one of the viewers ended up obviously saying that, hey, Mark, the Houston Texans should hire you to replace Bob.
Man, look, I can't stand the coach, man. Bill O'Brien is ruining the franchise. I would take it in a minute, and, man, I would have a coaching staff right there. I mean, I got some guys that can coach. All I got to do is just be the figurehead. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, I can get with them right now. I mean, the Texans were ready to take it to the next level. But, the big thing that they did in the offseason, as everybody knows, is let DeAndre Hopkins go to the Arizona Cardinals for Johnson, the running back, which I thought was just not a fair trade. And I think it's just that Bill O'Brien he didn't get along. Supposedly, the reports were that DeAndre Hopkins was such a revered person in that locker room that he was intimidated by him. Then there were reports he didn't like some of the people that he associated with, bringing his family. And, so what, man? That what he does off the field, as long as he's not hurting anybody. So what? If he has kids by 3 or 4 women, that's his business, and as long as he's taking care of it and it's not a distraction to the team, so be it. The guy was a model citizen since he came from Clemson. He was one of the best receivers in the league, definitely top 2-3.
Yep.
And he helped Deshaun Watson grow up a lot, and now I think it's Watson's team from here on out. They did, sign Randall Cobb, and they got some guys that's still there, Will Fuller, that can do some damage. But I think the Texans, again, here's it, secondary has been weak. We had a decent offense with Deshaun Watson is one of the most dynamic players in the NFL. He and Patrick Mahomes are probably 1-2 is carrying the league from here on the next 10 years if they stay healthy and everything goes correct. But I was highly disappointed, and I won't say disappointed. I was pissed about it, as a Houston Texans fan.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of friends and people that I still talk to at home were highly pissed off about it. There were no brownie points for the coach then. I mean, I hope he didn't, I hope he didn't get his car egged or something. It was he probably had to have extra security. I mean, it was just terrible, man. And if you know anything about the state of Texas, man, we are diehard football fans. I mean, if you ever heard the saying everything is bigger in Texas, that's legit.
Okay.
You can Google it, man. I mean, high school stadiums over $60 million and $90 million, and we got indoor facilities here. Everything's bigger in Texas, and we definitely are passionate about our football. And that was just the most idiotic move of the NFL offseason.
Man, you sound like we sounded last year, and for the last 5 years. And I know if anybody knows about coaching issues, it's the Dallas Cowboys, because we got rid of Mr. Clapper. You know who I'm talking about, Mr. Clapper.
But you know what? I'll tell you this, Sid.
Okay.
I watched a Amazon Prime special on the Dallas Cowboys a couple years ago. It was the year that Zeke was suspended. And there was a lot of behind-the-scenes thing that you didn't see, what you wouldn't see if you're not there. And Jason Garrett has a little more fire than people actually think.
Okay.
I just think that the Cowboys needed a new voice.
Yes.
You can't continue to go 8-8 and in this part of the country and be satisfied. Cowboys fans, as you know, they're very passionate. And, I love Stephen A. Smith. Is one of my favorite guys. But Stephen A. Smith doesn't dislike the Cowboys. He hates the fans because they just be on him so hard. And every time you tell a Cowboys fan or talk to them, they think they're going to the Super Bowl. And then they go 6-10, and they still think they're going to the Super Bowl. It's just diehard love. And I think, we talked about this off camera and last week before we got on the show. If you've ever been to a Cowboys game and you're not a Cowboys fan, it'll make you nauseated. It'll make you throw up. I mean, babies are dressed in Cowboys sunglasses, socks, earrings. I mean, it's just Cowboys galore. Yep. I'm serious, man. And people are so into the Cowboys like that. You can't give them 8-8 like that. It's just not gonna fly. And I think you got some new blood with Mike McCarthy. So, I think they're trending up. But like I always say, and my coaches used to say when I was playing ball back in high school and college, everybody looks good in shirt and shorts. You got to prove it on the field. So, everybody can look good in OTAs. Everybody can look good training with their personal trainers. But until we strap up and put those pads on, we're not gonna know. Yeah,
man, 100%. I agree with you. So listen. I honestly think that the Dallas Cowboys have a lot to do this year. They have a lot to prove. What do you think Houston has to prove going into the season with the moves that they've made? And how do you think that the Houston will play out this year?
Well, the first thing we have to make sure is that Deshaun Watson stays healthy. The Texans have been synonymous for being weak and not on the offensive line and not breaking bread or paying offensive linemen, top tier offensive linemen, and not drafting top tier offensive linemen. I would say in the last 8 to 10 years, even when they had David Carr, when the franchise started out, David Carr got killed. He got mauled. I mean, he was just running for his life, like he's stolen something. So you've got to protect Deshaun Watson now that he's definitely the face of the franchise with D-Hop leaving. So shore up the offensive line. We got to see if David Johnson is going to be able to stay healthy. I mean, you kind of got damaged goods. He has to prove something. I wasn't real sure why would you pick up a back that's been injured. He hadn't played a full season the last 3 years, I believe. He was coming off an injury-plagued season last year with Arizona. Also, you got to look at the secondary. They got rid of Joseph back there, and who's going to step up back there? We had Tyrann Mathieu, and they let him go. They've been religiously cheap. Tyrann Mathieu goes to the Chiefs last year and wins the Super Bowl. He was a
Yeah.
difference maker. Even when he was coming out of college, he was a difference maker. I always been a big fan of the Honey Badger. He, it doesn't matter. He could play on the inside. He can cover you on the in the slot. He can play deep safety. He can rush the passer. We let a guy like that go, right? So some of the upstairs decisions, the front office decisions, have just been mediocre at best. So the Houston has to really try to stack their chips and protect Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson goes down, we might as well look to go down too. So I think there's going to be a challenge in that division with Phillip Rivers signing with the Colts, and then the Chiefs. The Titans have been in the running for Jadeveon Clowney. So we'll see if he lands there.
Yep.
That division is up for grabs. It depends on how Phillip Rivers acclimates himself to the Indianapolis Colts, but I still think we win the division. I'll say 10-6 at best, and then. I also saw something where J.J. Watt is not looking for an extension on his contract, but J.J.'s been hurt as well. We're talking about a former defensive MVP, player of the year.
Yep.
Injuries come up, man. If you look at J.J. Watt, he's been playing with that elbow brace for the last 5 or 6 years.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
You have to give it to him though. J.J. Watt is still forced to be reckoned with. He's a beast.
He's a beast.
He's a beast, man. He gets to that QB, and he's definitely.
I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm saying is the proof is in the pudding. He's been injured. Okay.
Yep.
When we need him, he hadn't been there. I think that it's going to be up to Deshaun Watson to take this team to the next level. When I say the next level, we're talking about AFC Championship or Super Bowl.
100%.
People down there are hungry.
Being a Dallas Cowboys fan, I'm telling you now, and we're going to the Super Bowl this year.
see, that's what Stephen A. Smith gets y'all at, man. Every time, the Super Bowl, it's Super Bowl or bust. But it's either feast or famine with the Cowboys. Either you're with them or you're not. If they don't sign Dak, then you got to look at Andy Dalton as your quarterback. Is that what you really want?
100%. I don't think. And listen, Andy Dalton is not a bad QB, and we got to put it out there. He's not a bad QB. He put up some crazy numbers. He throws a lot of INTs. That's my worry. He was right behind Eli Manning for INTs.
Right.
But is he the Dallas Cowboys QB going forward? No, I don't see that happening.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not, man.
Dak will play. If he has to play under the franchise tag, Dak will play. But will we get 100% from Dak? No, because he's got no guarantee, and he's obviously going to still have to put up some crazy numbers. But he won't take as many chances as he did last year because in his mind, he's like, wait a minute, I don't want to get injured and ruin my opportunities going forward.
Well, Sid, I'm going to have to strongly disagree with you on that because, first of all, he's a professional.
Yep.
And professional athletes can't go out there half-ass. You're going to get hurt that way. So I don't think it's in Dak's nature to go half speed or full speed. Now, what you're thinking is it's the difference between him diving for a first down or going out of bounds. Now that's logical thinking, and that if he's thinking like that during a game, then he's going to be a step slow. In the game of football, you can't think about stuff. You got to just do it. It's a reactionary type thing. So I agree with you, but I strongly disagree that Dak's thinking like that. It's just not in his nature. He hasn't played like that, since he's been with the Cowboys, since he took over for Romo.
Yeah.
I mean, last year he played for the lowest salary in the game. And was a starter.
Yep.
And had the best numbers that he's had since he's been a starter.
And if I remember, if I read clearly, he got paid less than the kicker.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. So it's time to break bread and back up the caboose.
Yep.
And let's get Dak paid. Now, as far as Andy Dalton, Andy Dalton's a native Houstonian. He played at Katy High School. He played here not too far from where I live.
You can have him.
At TC.
You can have him.
I like Andy Dalton. I actually met Andy Dalton before the Fiesta Bowl when they beat Wisconsin. I met him when they were going to the bowl game out there in California his senior year. Yeah. And he was actually bigger than I thought he was. But like I said, he's a native Texan. I've always rooted for Andy Dalton, even when he was with the Bengals, as long as he wasn't playing Houston or Dallas. I rooted for him. But, they call him, the Red Rifle for a reason. Andy Dalton's a gamer.
Yeah.
What Andy Dalton didn't have was the support he needed defensively and sometimes offensively in Cincinnati. Cincinnati made it to the playoffs, but they couldn't get over the hump. They always lost in the first round. He didn't have a playoff win. But also, when you play in the division with the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers religiously,
Yeah.
it's going to be hard for you to win every year.
100%.
And I think maybe they, if I'm not mistaken, they won the division one time when he was there. And he can get the job done, but you gotta admit, Sid, now being a Cowboys fan, come on now, Cooper Rush or Andy Dalton?
Andy Dalton.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Case closed.
100%. You mentioned the fact that every time Andy Dalton went up to the Steelers and Baltimore, he struggled. And
Right.
I have to say, that's the two teams that I have us catching an L to this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's going to depend on how well DeMar Jackson's playing and if
Yes.
Big Ben comes back. If Big Ben doesn't come back, the Steelers are going to struggle. He's
yeah.
the lifeblood of that team. The last part of, the departure of Antonio Brown and, oh man, my guy, I'm having a brain fart right now. The running back that they had before, that's with the Jets. Gosh, what's my man? Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell, yeah,
So,
there we go.
they don't have the killer bees anymore.
Yeah.
And the Steelers have been famous for defense since they had the steel curtain. And, I'm a big Mike Tomlin fan. I think he's a player's coach. I always root for him as a coach. I like that. I think, one thing that's not being said is, I don't know if you saw this, Sid, but, they're trying to encourage more African-American coaches by giving the teams draft picks. Well, that's a cop-out. Hire somebody on their merit.
Yeah.
You see what's going on in this country right now with the African-American community is in an uproar right now. And it's even at the professional football level. We only have 3 black coaches, and the majority of these teams are black. Yeah. So what does that say about the NFL as a whole? But that's a whole nother show and a topic. But, I root for Mike Tomlin. I've always liked him. But I think the Cowboys will probably beat the Steelers. But playing Lamar Jackson, what is our defense going to be like? You got to look at all these pass rushers. Alden Smith is coming. He's being reinstated. So obviously the Cowboys want to get to the quarterback because they're weak in the secondary.
Yep, 100%. And touching on Alden Smith, I'm happy to have him coming back. I think he's going to be a huge asset to the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, I'm worried because, he had off-field drama. Like, this
Right.
guy, every single charge you could think of, I think, was thrown at him.
Right.
And I hope that he's not coming back to the Dallas Cowboys to bring some of that drama back with him. But
Right.
I do believe that he's going to be he has something to prove. We all know
Right.
Alden Smith has a huge chip on his shoulder. He's been fighting to come back, and now that he's
Right.
reinstated, what do you think he'll bring to the Dallas Cowboys? And do you think that he'll be football ready to be able to come back to the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, I think that Alden Smith is getting his feet back up under him. What he has going for him is one of his 49ers coaches is on the defensive staff for the Cowboys now that was with the 49ers when he was there. Also, I have a friend that's one of the top defensive linebacker trainers here in the DFW area, Coach Brandon Tucker, that's working with him personally. The agent that got him signed with the Cowboys on a 1-year deal pointed him straight to Coach Tucker, and he's well renowned in this area, and he's been training him. And he said that Alden Smith, has a lot to go. A long way to go as far as getting back in shape, getting back football ready. He said if they had to play right now, he'd probably be 10 to 15 snaps a game, be situational rusher. But, he's working with him diligently. Alden Smith is working hard, and Coach Tucker said that he's very coachable. He's been listening to him, and he's accepting the coaching since he hit the Dallas Fort Worth area when he came in. So I look for Alden Smith to be one of the hot boys.
Okay. And do you think that he'll bring any of that drama back? Do you think that he's matured and the problems he's had with the law is something that he's put behind him?
He's gonna have to prove it. It's a show me type of thing. You can't just talk about it. You got to be about it. And now he's out to prove that he's back, that he is committed to the Cowboys. He only got a 1-year deal, so he's got 1 year to show and prove, and that means that he has to show up every game. If he wants to get another big contract, if not with the Cowboys, this is his show me year.
Yeah.
He has to prove that to the rest of the NFL that he's serious about it. But I think the reason that he signed with the Cowboys also is you should know this as a Cowboys fan, that Cowboys have one of the best support staffs for their players.
Yes.
When you do come here, definitely visit the Star. I know we talked about last week that you were going to come in for a game. You got to visit the Star. I mean, it's a state-of-the-art place. It's a big practice field that sits about 20,000. They play high school games and playoff games there.
Wow.
They got everything that you want. They got the players set up. They got a gym. They got the doctors there. So, I mean, they have everything here catered to the player if they want to advance and they want to be a better player. So I think that Alden Smith is in a perfect situation. Like I said, Coach Tucker is one of the better defensive line coaches in America, not just in DFW. And if he's mentoring him, I can say that he's definitely getting what he needs.
Yeah, man, 100%. And you said something that was very important, and I truly believe that Jerry Jones, as much as people think that he's always on the sidelines, he's getting involved, he's part of. Listen, Jerry Jones is a businessman, and I've heard that he takes care of his people. When you go to Jerry, when you go play for the Dallas Cowboys, he takes care of you because you become family to him.
Right. Well, this is what I always tell people about Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones was a all person. He came from the oil industry. That's why he made his money. And if you know anything about a wildcatter, they're gamblers because they're out there trying to get oil. They hit at the dirt, they digging, and they might come up empty. But it's just like playing blackjack or roulette or something. You have to take a chance, and sometimes you strike out.
Yeah.
But when you do hit gold. Oh boy!
And Jerry did.
Jerry still punch drunk on the '90s. He got those 3 Super Bowls, and he still lives and dreams about that. And if he can get back, you're not gonna be able to tell him nothing. He's gonna be on cloud 9. His head will be as big as Mount Everest. So, it is what it is. People either love or hate Jerry Jones. I respect him. I don't agree with everything he does,
100%.
but I respect what he does. But if you look at the Cowboys, how they're structured, the Jones children, the Jones family actually run, more the day-to-day. They run the merchandising, and then Stephen Jones is a big influence on his dad now. So, the Cowboys, like I said at the beginning, they're trending up, but they just got to prove it to you. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah, Jerry Jones, like you said, you either love him or you hate him. I love him when he stays off the field.
Yeah.
I love him when he stays away from the media, but he can't.
Yeah.
He's too involved. And with that being said, I know Mike McCarthy will be able to handle that situation with Jerry Jones. I don't think that Mike McCarthy will have issues with Jerry Jones trying to be involved. Mike McCarthy is a smart man. Listen, you saw what he did with Green Bay. And I think that what he's going to do with the Dallas Cowboys is huge. And I think that he'll work around Jerry Jones. And I think he has a strong relationship with Stephen Jones already going forward.
Right. Well, you got to look at it like this, Sid. And if you know anything about football, you're only as good as your coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Dak is in his prime right now.
Yep.
He's 25 years old. He's between 25 and 30. So if next 5 years is going to be the key years in Dak's development. Why not go out and get a coach that's quarterback friendly?
Yep.
You got to look at Brett Favre.
Yep.
Look at what he did with Aaron Rodgers until the end. I think Aaron Rodgers probably I would say like this, like the old folks say, his britches got too big for Mike McCarthy and he got growing. He needed a new voice. He's got a younger guy in there now that's his coach. Mike McCarthy is going to bring peace to Dak. He's going to be his sensei, if you want to look at it like that. Like Danielson. Mr. Miyagi.
Yes, Mr. Miyagi.
You wax on.
There you go.
Yeah, wax on, wax
off. There you go.
Right. So he's his sensei now. Those guys are going to work hand in hand to get this offense where it needs to be. Where Dallas has been lacking is the defensive side. You got those two young linebackers. They're beasts. And, you still got Sean Lee trying to hang on, which he'll be situational, but Sean Lee can't stay healthy. The secondary is where the Cowboys have
But
been
need help.
weak.
Hmm.
They need help. When they had a chance to get a DB and they drafted C.D. Lamb, the C.D. Lamb draft uh, was about Dak Prescott. So
Yep.
how are they not going to give him his money if they bring in C.D. Lamb? It just doesn't make sense. It's apples to oranges.
Yeah,
You know
we
what I'm
all
saying?
know. We all know, and it came out. I mean, even Mike McCarthy said it. He sees a big future with Dak, and I believe that the reason why he decided to take the coaching job with the Dallas Cowboys is one of the main reasons was Dak and Zeke. Now,
Yeah.
you brought up a huge topic, and I would just want to send a shout out to a few listeners here. We have Eastside Harold who sent a
What's
shout
up?
out. Go Texans!
Yes,
So-
sir. H-Town, baby, all the time.
There we
We
go.
stay down with it. Yes, sir.
Christy
Yes, sir.
Bean. I want to send a shout out to Christy Bean.
That's my sister. What's up, baby?
So Christy Bean said, "What do you think about Dak? Will he be great this season?"
I think Dak will be great. The Cowboys lost their center, and Travis Frederick decided to retire. They've been strong for the last 5 years. You've had Pro Bowlers on that line. My guy at tackle has been injured from USC, retiring. Whoa, gosh, I'm having a brain fart. That offensive line has to get together.
Tyron Smith.
Tyron Smith. I said Tyron, didn't I? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Tyron Smith, and he's going to have to lead that line. I think the smartest move, Sid, here with the Dallas Cowboys, and I don't think a lot of people are talking about it, is they let Jason Witten go.
Yeah.
Because they had a young tight end that was getting kind of pushed to the side, and he had some injuries, but he is going to have a breakout year in Blake Jarwin.
Blake Jarwin.
They had to. Yeah, he is going to be the man that you don't think about when you got CeeDee Lamb,
Yep.
you got Gallup, you got Amari Cooper,
Yep.
and you got Zeke. Jarwin is going to sting you. And that was probably the smartest thing that the Cowboys front office did was letting Jason Witten go, because Jason Witten thought he had another year or so left. He came back out of the booth, back to the field, and he said he looked a step slow. He could still catch, but he can't stretch the field. Jarwin brings you another element.
Yep.
But I believe Dak Prescott will be successful. It's also going to depend on how strong that offensive line is, how they're going to respond at center. I don't know I don't think they drafted any linemen that I can remember in the first 3 rounds.
Nope.
So everything is offensive heavy here with the Cowboys. I'm looking for a big year out of Dak. I'm also looking for a big year out of Zeke. I don't know if you pay attention to Instagram a lot, but one of our good friends, D-Rob, David Robinson, has been working out with those guys. Zeke has been working on his route running. So, I think Zeke expects to get some passes out of the backfield, more screens, because, in Mike McCarthy's offense, they ran a lot of screens with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. So I expect Dak to be in the top 10 in the league.
Oh, 100%, man. I already said it, and I've said it on my channel before. Don't sleep on Dak, because Dak will become an elite QB. I see him going to the Pro Bowl at least a few more times, and I believe that he will end up in the Hall of Fame. You heard it here first.
Nah, you get your britches getting too big.
It's okay, man. I'm
allowed. Saying something. Yeah,
I'm allowed. So I just want to send a shout out to your sister. Is definitely blowing up the channel. She said
sir.
H-Town. Hey,
Yes,
man.
sir. Yes, sir.
Zeke. So
yes, sir.
big shout out to your sister, man. Is she a
Yes,
Dallas
sir.
Cowboys fan? I hope she is.
Oh man, she's a Houston Texas fan through and through.
No,
the whole
okay.
family.
It's
the
all
whole
good.
family.
It's all
They
good,
live
man.
and die. They live and die by it, man.
Listen, we all
My
know.
sister be screaming her head out, baby.
We all know Indiana, and I know you're probably not gonna like this comment. Neither is your sister, but the Houston
up?
Texans are Dallas Cowboys' baby team. We know it.
Well,
We
if
know
you
it.
look at it, Sid, they took their pacifiers out and beat them the first time they played.
Yeah.
So, you have to take that lump on the head first off. But, until they prove themselves, you got to be true about it. The only thing that Dallas has is they got those championships.
Yeah.
And some of that was when Tom Landry was coaching, and you had Jimmy Johnson. Those were the better days. Those were the last time that they won was in the early 90s. I mean, it was, I was still in high school when they won, if that tell you anything. So,
listen, speaking about Jimmy Johnson, I was really happy when he got abducted into the Hall of Fame.
Me too. Me too.
He deserves it. And the way Jerry Jones did Jimmy Johnson wasn't right. And I did a video on that. and
Yeah.
I was extremely happy that he got what he deserves.
I was too, man. And you got to think all of the players going back to his University of Miami days. He coached at Oklahoma State. Uh, and actually Jerry and Jimmy played on the same Arkansas national championship team.
Okay.
So where did that relationship sour? You'd have to talk to those guys about it. It'd have been, Jimmy just got tired of Jerry hovering. Oh, Jerry's a hover, as you said.
Man.
You hate to see your owner down on the field like that.
Yeah.
But Jerry thinks he's a coach, and that's the reason he does. He's a general manager as well as the owner. And I was having a conversation with somebody the other day about the Cowboys, and he was just saying that Jerry needs to let the general manager go. And my response to him was that when Jerry passes, he's going to be buried at the top of the stadium. When they open the roof, he'll be able to look down and watch the Cowboys play. He's gonna be enshrined right there, so he can see the Cowboys play. They're gonna bury him in the stadium.
Yeah,
it's gonna be right there.
He'll still find a way to intervene and
somehow,
some way. We know
right.
it. So your sister did definitely chime in. Texans, I don't hate the boys though. And
no hate.
Yeah.
No hate. We respect them, but when it come down to them playing against each other, we got to side with South side of the tree. The third coast. Houston, Texas, 45 South, everything, baby. That's what we do. You know what I'm saying?
100%. So you brought up CeeDee Lamb earlier.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about that move because I know us getting CeeDee Lamb pissed off a lot of people. A lot of people.
Those Eagles fans, huh?
I don't give a damn about those Eagles fans. I have a big thing coming. I have an Eagles fan that'll be coming onto my channel shortly, but we'll jump into that another day, and that should be a definitely interesting show as well because Eagles and Cowboys, we clash a lot. That's a team that I cannot stand.
Well, you don't have to. You won't get no argument from me. I don't like the Eagles either. The only time I liked the Eagles when they had Donovan McNabb. I was a Donovan McNabb fan when he was at Syracuse, though, and then when he came to the league. Now you talking about Hall of Famers? That's a Hall of Famer right there.
100%.
Donovan McNabb changed that franchise. But back to CeeDee Lamb, he's a native Houstonian, another H-Town representative. He went to Richmond Foster High School. His junior year, he had 57 receptions, 1,082 yards, 11 TDs as a junior. Then his senior year in 2016, he broke the bank. 98 receptions, 2,032 yards on a 14-1 record at his high school. They lost in the semifinals of the playoffs, 33 TDs, 3 punt returns. He was the Houston Touchdown Club Offensive Player of the Year his senior year in Houston. Yeah. So when they took him, it was a no-brainer. Usually the Cowboys had some kind of draft strategy, but this was a draft pick where they actually took the best player available. When he dropped in their lap, they had to be salivating. It didn't take them long to get that pick if you were watching.
No, it didn't. It didn't.
The only thing that I dislike or don't agree with Sid is they're forcing him to wear 88. Let him be his own man. He wanted to wear 10. Yeah. I don't really like that they're forcing him to wear 88, and the kid wanted to wear another jersey. But also, I think that there was some rumblings of Dez Bryant being able to come back to the Cowboys, but that kind of nips that in the bud a little bit because he's taking 88, first of all, which is Dez's number. Yep. But I think Dez wouldn't care if they offered him a contract. He really would come back because he's been working out with Dak and Zeke on the regular with my boy D-Rob up at A1D1 in Carrollton, which is a little bit north of Dallas, but in the Dallas area. Dez still lives here locally. But, I think CeeDee Lamb was a steal for the Cowboys. I think he's going to be a great addition, learning from Gallup, learning from Dak, learning from Zeke.
Yep.
And Amari Cooper is the consummate pro. We're not talking about just a great receiver, but just a pro.
Yeah.
And, I think CeeDee Lamb, I watched him at OU, which I can't stand Oklahoma because I'm a Longhorn for life for sure. But, CeeDee Lamb was a monster. I think he really showed himself last year.
Last year, he put up over 1,300 yards. I believe
just a beast.
He really killed it last year. He elevated every year. If you look at his stats, every year he elevated. So I'm curious to see what he's going to be bringing to the Dallas Cowboys. Like you said, that's an extra weapon for Dak. I believe that the Dallas Cowboys couldn't believe he was still available, and that was just a steal for them. I
Man, they had to be happy than a kid in a candy store, a fat kid that want cake. I mean, you had to make that pick. If now, just think if they didn't, you guys would be killing Jerry right now, right?
Yeah, 100%. And if you saw the video, Mike McCarthy and Jerry, their look on their faces where they were laughing because they couldn't believe that he was still available.
Right.
And like you
Right.
said, that was a quick pick for them. And from that point, I said, well, we're gonna have a monster of a season because the weapons that we have going into 2020. But like you said, if our offense, this is what I think has to happen. Our offense has to be on the field. We have to control the clock. We got to try and keep our defense off because our secondary, as you keep mentioning, is an issue. So
Right. Well, here's what they're gonna do. You're gonna have three wides and four wides a lot. I don't think they re-signed Tavon Austin, which I think could hurt them. But that opens up the door for CeeDee Lamb to be on the field a lot more. Think about Zeke here. And, last year he faced 8, 9 men in the box.
Mm-hmm.
Think about with those kind of receivers, they're going to demand one-on-one coverage.
Yep.
They have to be able to get open. Once they start killing them, that sets up the running game, and you can bam, 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 and feed the Zeke. He going to be eating. We're going to be seeing a lot of that. He going to be eating. He going to eat his Wheaties. He going to eat his Frosted Flakes, everything. Feed the Zeke is going to be on top of game.
Yep.
So if you know anything about football, that running game is an important thing. And the Cowboys' strong suit is what? Their offensive line.
Yep.
So we get those receivers going, that opens up the running game. And you can look for, I expect Zeke to have 1,200 to 1,300 yards rushing and 20 TDs.
Yeah, man, I'm with you on that. And you, like you said, and I agree with you because that's something I brought up in one of my videos a couple of weeks ago. I said for the Dallas Cowboys to be successful, we need to go back to the running game.
Back to the running game. It all starts with that.
Yep. Go back to the running game, eat up the clock. Once they start closing up those gaps so we can't get to our running game, then we open it up and get get Dak to throw the ball up there and use his weapons.
But I think one thing that sets Dak apart is his ability to use his feet. I think he didn't use it enough. I used to get mad at him when I'm watching him, and it's wide open. And you still look, man, go get that 10-yard slide and get out of bounds.
Yeah.
The day of the statuesque quarterback standing back there in the pocket, they're
It's
trying
done.
to throw is over. It's done.
That's done. That's over.
It's done.
That's
You
over.
got these DNs running 4-4 and 4-5s, man. Run that peel, get out of the pocket, live to fight another day. And that's the thing that I think if it was me, I would like, Dak, look, if it's not there, you take off. You don't have your first and second read, your third read's not there. You don't have time to sit back there in today's game and eat your breakfast. You got to get rid of that ball or either run.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you. So with that being said, what do you think the Dallas Cowboys season will be looking at? What record do you think they'll end with going into the playoffs and getting that Super Bowl W?
I can't say Super Bowl because there's too many other good teams in the NFC. San Francisco was strong last year. The Green Bay Packers should be back. I think the Cowboys can win their division. The reason you can say Dax needs his money. Look, the Eagles paid Carson Wentz all that money, and he's been injured the last 2 years. Did Carson Wentz win the Super Bowl for the Eagles? No.
Nick Foles did. We know
Nick Foles did. Another Texan.
Foles did. 100%. And I don't care what the Eagles fans say. Wentz did not. If Wentz was playing, they would not have won the Super Bowl.
I don't think so either. I mean, I liked Carson Wentz when he was at North Dakota State. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's better than Dak Prescott, and the proof is in the pudding. I think the Eagles win the division. I think the Cowboys win the division. The Eagles will be second, Giants, and then the Redskins. But, I think the Cowboys make the playoffs, but they're going to have to try to win that division, and they need to be in the top 1 or 2 in the whole NFC so they can get some home field advantage. If you look at the Cowboys, they play much better at home than they do on the road.
Yeah.
That place gets rowdy, it gets loud. They need to be at home in order to make a run to the Super Bowl, I believe. Going on the road, going to Seattle, or going to San Francisco, I think that's where they'll struggle. They play a lot better at home with some home cooking. But I'm going to say the Cowboys will be the 10-6, 11-5, win the division. I like them going to the divisional round and maybe the NFC playoff, the NFC Championship game. I can't say Super Bowl until everybody else shake out. It would be hard to say, Seattle's not going to be good. San Francisco, Green
Yeah,
Bay, those guys have proven that. Last year Aaron Rodgers got them to the NFC title game. So we got to see how that shakes out. Um, and I believe the Cowboys are going to be successful. But like you said earlier, even if Dak takes that franchise tag, he's betting on himself. That he's going to have another productive year. He'll take the 33, 35 million and go ball out. And just
100%.
think what CD Lamb is going to be getting with a motivated Dak Prescott.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. And I don't know if we covered this, but what do you think the Houston's record will be going into the season? And do you think that Houston will make the playoffs this year?
I think they will make the playoffs. I can't call it Super Bowl because you got my boy Fat Pat. I call him Fat Pat Mahomes. That's my guy, man. I liked him when he was a youngster, another Texan quarterback. He's from East Texas, the Tyler, Texas area. Then he went to Texas Tech, and he was a stud. And then he just took the NFL by storm, put Alex Smith out of a job. And they drafted him as a top 10 pick. But as long as Fat Pat is rolling over there, I don't know if we can get past them or not. They played the Chiefs pretty good the last few years. I think they will win the division. I think they finished 10-6, 11-5. I think they go to the divisional round, if not the AFC Championship. But you're gonna have the Chiefs there that'll be reckoned with, and then you got we'll see what the rest of the AFC shakes out. You got Lamar Jackson over there. They played a wing dinger of a game last year against the Ravens, when they beat the Texans pretty well. So I think that the Texans will finish top of their division. They will make the playoffs. But we're gonna have to hold out on the Super Bowl, and maybe if we get rid of Bill O'Brien, we might go further.
100%, man. I have to say, your sister's definitely chiming in on this. So
No doubt.
Your sister had the Texans with 10 wins. She said, "I think it's possible." She goes, "Texans, baby, playoffs, yes. Cowboys win 10 wins and playoffs, yes." So
Yeah,
I actually have the
yeah,
Cowboys going 11-5 this year.
yeah,
That's my opinion.
yeah.
I definitely think that the Cowboys will make the playoffs. I hope.
I do too. I agree.
I'm hoping that we make the Super Bowl. We have a lot of weapons, a lot of young talent on our team. You guys are in the rebuilding stage. I think that you guys have to make the move of getting rid of your coach. And once
Yeah,
you guys make that move, then I
yeah.
think that you guys will be.
He's hanging by a thread. He's the Achilles heel of the organization to me right now.
Yeah,
He's trying to be like the Patriots. He wants to be, Bill Belichick's clone, and sometimes that doesn't work. You can't carry that over to another team. These guys are different in the NFL than you say 10, 15 years ago.
yeah,
They just don't, they're wired different, and you have to be able to relate to those guys. Getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins was a horrible mistake. Now Kyler Murray is all chipper out there in Arizona. I mean, he got one of the best receivers in the game to go along with Larry Fitzgerald, who's
yeah.
still one of the better receivers in the game. So, shout out to D Hop. 100. We miss you in H-Town. We miss you in Texas. But like I said before, it's Deshaun Watson's team. It's time for him to show and prove. He's gonna be in the contract stage here pretty soon.
100%. Yeah, man. Listen, I really hope that we have an NFL season going into this season. I think that's one of the biggest questions that we all have on our minds.
Yeah.
I think that we will have an NFL season. I think there
Yeah.
might be a few delays depending on how all this drama perspires and
Yeah.
what we do to fix it. We all
Yeah.
need to stop all this hate against each other.
Yeah.
And this, with the pandemic going on, this is not helping. So
No.
I just definitely want to thank you for taking the time to be on the Speak Your Mind All the Time talk show. Let them
Yes,
know
sir.
where to find you again. Let them know about your podcast, and
Yes, sir.
we'll definitely do this again soon.
No doubt, man. Again, I appreciate it's your boy Sid for hanging out with him tonight, man. I appreciate the time, man. If you don't know by now, Sid and I have become pretty good friends here in the last week. We've been texting and keeping in touch. I love your candor, man. I love what you bring to the table, man. North of the border, man. It gives us another outlet to, another opinion, man. And again, I am Mark Henry on the Marc Sports. You can find me on Twitter at Markin44. I also have a Houston podcast that's focused on Houston high school football at Third Coast Gridiron, and the TXTP show with my boy Matt Davidson, LL Mayer, and my man behind the camera, my producer extraordinaire, Dan the Man Keck. You can find TXTP show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google podcast platforms at TXTP Show on Twitter, and at TXTPshow.com is the website. Check us out, man. We have some of the best players in the country. We have another Timeout NFL show that's just beginning out, which we had Sid on. That episode should be out today or tomorrow. It's at Timeout NFL on Twitter. So, man, we stay busy. This is what we do. Man, hit us up with any questions. You got any suggestions, man? Send them our way, man. We look forward to hanging out and doing this again, man. Again, I appreciate you for letting me come on and talk some shop with you, man. And, keep in touch because, we're on the ground floor here in Dallas. So anytime you need some Dallas news on the Cowboys, man, we right in your backyard, buddy.
100%, man. Like I said, I am going to be going out to a show a game this year. I will definitely be hitting you up. We definitely got to check out that game together. We're definitely going to be collabing again. I will definitely be posting all your information on my channel. Guys, go look for him on Twitter. Check out his podcast, Amazing Made Podcast. I did it last week with them. I'm looking forward to hearing the show. Thank you for taking the time to be with me. Thank you for the fans for tuning in. Big up to all you guys who took the time to ask us questions in the show. It's your boy Sid. Thank you for being on Speak Your Mind all the time. It's your boy Sid, and I'm out.